listener. You are at the popcorn counter. My name is Andres Lorente.
And I am not ChatGPT. I am James Rosica with a considerably more realistic voice, though. You sound like, was it Mac in Talk? Did you ever play with that on the computer where you could get your Mac, like your kind of late 90s Mac, to speak in a Stephen Hawking type voice?
No, I am not familiar with old technologies, only versions 13.0 and higher.
You will have noticed that we have cleared some space at the popcorn counter this week. Very exciting. Well, we are going to have our first, I say first, probably last, probably only ever, robot face-off. Having seen 2 movies about robots, I'm in quite a robot-style mood. So we have both brought a small team of movie robots to the popcorn counter. And we will be battling it out. And any of them might speak like Mac in Talk 7.0 or whatever the old Mac operating system voice was. So I've prepared a list of 4 movie robots and a couple of reserves, and I think you have done the same.
I have, and I promise not to talk in the voice anymore because that would be tiresome. Yes, I've got 4, and then I've got a couple others in backup. It's like I've got a bench. It's not a deep bench, but I've got a deep bench of some depth, and I'm just waiting to hear how the game goes, and before I announce my lineup. Yeah,
this is so I've taken an enormous risk this time round. So we're going to have 7 robot battles, 1v1. We'll have a first round, and then a semi-final, and then a final.
Wow.
But I don't know what the 7 challenges for the robots are. So I have asked my son, Edward, to come up with 7 robot challenges. I haven't looked at them. He wrote them on a piece of paper, then he folded it over, and he had a wry smile as he gave it to me. So there is a small chance that, there's a significant chance I might not be able to read his writing, because his writing is about as good as mine.
Oh, no.
But there is a bigger chance that they might be completely inappropriate, or far too rude, or far too clever. Anything could happen. So I think we should just line up the robots, and then I will gradually turn over the bit of paper, and we'll see what he's got us to do. So my first robot, stepping up to the plate, that's the thing, isn't it? Stepping up to the plate?
It's baseball.
Baseball, right, okay, right. Is from a 1951 film, made in black and white.
Yeah.
Directed by the director of West Side Story.
Ooh.
This robot was played by American actor Lock Martin, who was an usher at Grauman's Chinese Theatre. And he would get gigs in Hollywood because he was 7 feet and 7 inches tall.
Wow. That's big.
Can you guess which 1951 film he played the robot in?
It's not The Day the Earth Stood Still, is it?
Oh my God, it is The Day the Earth Stood Still. So my first robot is Gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still. We still do very rarely say Klaatu Barada Nikto in our house every now and then, which is Gort's catchphrase. Well, Gort doesn't say anything, does he? I think in The Day the Earth Stood Still. But the catchphrase from the film is Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Yes.
I'm still not entirely sure what it means, but I think it means do not destroy the Earth. I'm hoping that's what it means.
Yeah.
I'll be trying that if the aliens do invade the Earth.
I think you have to probably spell it backwards. If you spell it backwards, maybe it means something.
I bet it means something rude.
That's simple.
Who is Gort facing up against?
I'm glad you went with a 4-letter word, because so did I. I'm coming in with full-on shock and awe.
Right.
Part human, and I think that makes it especially scary.
Right. Is this a character played by a famous Austrian?
No.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Okay.
It's sort of a multi-character organism from a classic television series that was renewed in the late 80s.
Well, this is not... Are we talking about Star Trek?
We are, and there's a 4-letter menacing group of robots.
Okay, so it's not Data.
Nope. Oh, could have been. Data was on my list, but I went with... Are you ready for it?
Is it the Borg?
It's the Borg.
The Borg!
God, I was scared. They scared me so much. The Borg. And in part because it was us, especially the great episodes where Picard gets turned into a Borg.
Now, even I remember that. I didn't watch Next Gen.
Yeah.
But is it Star Trek First Contact? Isn't that?
It is First Contact.
Borg,
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Right. Yeah. There we go. I remember a friend of mine who was a big Star Trek Next Gen enthusiast. It persuaded me to come and see First Contact with him, and I didn't really understand very much about it at all. But the Borg, they have that big cube spaceship, don't they?
Big cube spaceship, yeah, grafting on various parts of robots to human bodies, and just I guess there's a word for that. It's called the called the thing that I can't remember at the moment, but it will come back to me later on.
It's called the pregnant silence while we go to Google.
It's not the synthesis. I'm going to look it up. Anyway, the Borg did it really well.
Right, okay. You're the biggest Star Trek fan I know. How can you not know this?
Well, because it's a term that's from another film, a documentary.
Okay, all right. So we have Gort versus... Now, wait a second. Isn't Gort going to be slightly... at a disadvantage because there's only one Gort?
Let's just say any Borg. I would put any Borg up against
any
Gort.
Borg. Okay, it's one Borg. Okay, I'm going to find out what Edward has challenged Gort and the Borg to do. Number one. Right, most likely to win a dance contest.
Oh, God. Well, I don't think Gort really moves at all, does he?
No, Gort steps very slowly. I did read up about this. They had to make these 2 neoprene suits for Gort. One of them had seams at the front, so Lock Martin could climb into it, and one of them had seams at the back, so Lock Martin could climb into it. And so they would always change the suit, depending on whether he was going to be shot from the front or the back. So to give the impression to the audience that there was no seam anywhere on the suit, so he was completely seamless. But because he wore a completely seamless suit, he didn't move a lot. So Gort, not likely to win many dance-offs. But then the Borg, have they got a sense of rhythm?
They can do anything. They don't have much rhythm. They don't have much personality, so they'd have a hard time dancing, but I think they could dance. Huh.
So they will probably do synchronized dancing pretty well.
Oh, that's true, like boy band stuff.
Yeah, they could. That. I think round one is going to go to the Borg.
I think so too. That feels good.
Right. Okay. Round two then. See whether I can bring it back. Who have you got stepping up to the plate? I know all about baseball.
Oh God,
for round two.
What do you step up to in cricket? The wicket?
The wicket? Yeah, I think so. I think it is. I'm going to embarrass myself so badly now if I don't know any cricket terms. I think it's the. Oh no, I want to say it's the sleeve, but it's not. Is it the crease? It's the crease.
The crease.
Oh. Something that you do to a sleeve.
That
it's
makes
the crease.
sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the opposite direction on this one. There's a slight connection in terms of name to Hell in Metropolis, who we came across last week.
Right.
From a classic that did not come out in the year 2001, but it's about the 2001.
Right.
The formless voice character of Hal. The computer on board. It's like the shark. Don't show the shark. When you show the shark, it's not going to be as scary, so don't show it. Hal scares the hell out of me. And I think that's because he's controlling things without even being able to see him, So I'm going with Hal.
Hal does have a body insofar as he's got those brightly lit orange video cassette looking shapes.
I guess so,
that
but
he lives
in. I mean, it's really just like a camera, isn't it? Like the lens or something.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, he has many, many eyes. Hal sees everything. Hal can lip read. Has there ever been a better pre-intermission scene than that shot in 2001 where you can tell that Hal is lip reading what the characters are saying?
Yes.
That's such a great bit of storytelling. It's just fantastic. Right, okay. Well, similarly futuristic, not 2001, but 2008 was when this film came out, directed by Andrew Stanton, who, as a coincidence, also directed at least one episode of Three Body Problem, the Netflix series I was talking about last week. This is a Pixar film, 2008, featuring not one, but many robots.
Yeah.
The robot I'm thinking of from this 2008 Pixar film was originally going to be an alien robot, and then during development they changed it so that it was a robot that was made by humans.
Interesting.
The film is Wall-E.
Wall-E, yeah.
Have you seen Wall-E?
I have, a long time ago. Liked it. I don't remember other robots necessarily.
So the Wall-E's love interest is this super slick, futuristic, all-white robot who descends from the sky is Eve.
Oh, of course.
Yes, who's beautifully designed, and this is why animated films depend so heavily on production design, because the moment that you see her and the way that she flies around, whereas Wall-E goes around on these little wheels, and she's extremely shiny and clean, whereas he is dirty, and she is made of this kind of perfect white plastic, whereas he's made of old bits of metal. You learn so much about her character just in those first few seconds. I think Wall-E, one of the finest science fiction films of the 21st century.
Yeah, it's a good film. It is
just dynamite. Right, so we've got Wall-E versus we've got Eve versus Hal 9000. I'm going to find out what Edward wants those two of them to do. Who is going to win at this? So number 2.
I want to keep it as Hal only because we've got 3-letter words or names for the robots in the second round.
Yes,
So
Hal versus Eve.
Hal,
Which of those two is most likely to get full marks on a maths exam?
Oh, God. I don't remember Eve well enough. Hal would definitely get full marks.
I think it's going to have to be Hal, probably, isn't it? Hasn't Hal been made to be more intelligent than any human that ever lived? I think.
Yeah, super smart. Yeah.
I'm sure that Eve is also super smart.
Yes.
I suspect it's going to have to be a very challenging maths exam before either of them threatens to drop a mark. But if I had to put money on one, it's going to be Hal.
Yeah.
I mean, Hal has even got maths in his name. He's even called 9000.
Yes. Oh,
Beat that.
Good point. The numbers are there. Yeah. We live in an age of multiple intelligences, but some do the multiple better than the others, I guess. The multiplication of intelligences. That's how.
That's true. Yeah, if you ask ChatGPT to do maths, it's hopeless, isn't it?
Yes. Gee, it's alphabetical. It's like literary. It's not a maths thing.
Let's go with the words. Right, round 3. Okay, so the next. So when we come to the semi-final, it's going to be the Borg versus Hal. I've got no one in the semi-final at all.
Oh,
right.
Okay. First
round 3. Okay, 1982 movie.
Yeah. Oh.
In which a lot of robots feature.
I think we chose the same one.
Oh,
go ahead.
Go. One of us might have to go for a backup then. So I've chosen a character from a 1982 film directed by Ridley Scott. Mm-hmm. I suspect it might be the same film that you have chosen, but there's a number of robots in this film.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
I've chosen who I think is maybe the most formidable character in the whole film, although she doesn't last very long.
Oh.
Played by an actor who I think the following year became rather more famous playing a mermaid.
Yeah. Is that Daryl Hannah?
This is Daryl Hannah. Who is the robot that Daryl Hannah plays in 1982's Blade Runner?
Pretty?
Very close. Pris.
Pris
is the name.
Oh,
yes.
my God.
So Blade Runner, written by Hampton Fancher and David Peoples, based on the book by Philip K. Dick. Have you read the book?
I have.
I've read
Robot's
the book.
Dream of Electric Sheep.
The book is great, but not very similar to the film.
No. I mean, there are a lot of elements that I really liked about the book, like the whole the worship of the animals, the electric sheep, doesn't really occur in the film.
Absolutely. It's all completely excised, isn't it? I think that the film is based on just like a sort of 4-page subplot in the book, largely. I learned, doing a bit of research for the pod, I learned today, I didn't realise that there are a number of characters that got cut from Blade Runner, including another replicant called Mary, who was a nanny. There was a nanny replicant who was hanging out with Roy Batty and Pris and all those characters.
Yeah.
She was a child care robot. She had no fighting skills at all.
Okay.
And then got cut from the... So I think they even cast her, but she got cut before they shot the film. So I've got Pris, replicant, gymnast, penchant for odd eye makeup. But tell you wouldn't want to fight her in a dark corridor.
No. This is awkward.
Yeah, okay. Oh, who is she going to fight for round 3?
Roy Batty. Didn't they have a relationship?
They're friends.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Oh, Chris versus Roy Batty.
Oh, man.
Tricky. Okay. Well, we will look. Maybe Edward's Challenge will sort it out then.
Yeah. Good.
When did you first see Blade Runner? Did you see it at the cinema? Did you see it on TV?
I definitely saw it at the cinema. Yeah. And then it came up in a class that I took, a communications class that I took in 88 or 89. So I was about 6 years old, but this one professor was obsessed with it. So we read the book, we watched the film, talked quite a bit about it. I don't think it was appropriate for that class, but he pulled it off. So
it's amazing what teachers can get away with, huh?
Yeah. Suckers.
I first saw it on TV. This was the era when once a big film came on television, everyone in school would all watch it. So everyone on the playground was talking about Blade Runner the following day.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time talking to all my friends about Blade Runner and gradually realizing that there were loads of important things I had not realized or understood. So I think most of it went straight over my head when I first watched it, and probably still does. So Edward's Challenge from Chris v. Roy Batty is... Oh, okay. This is a good one. Most likely to become a successful lawyer. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Who would you trust in court, Chris or Roy Batty?
Well, Roy Batty's so good because of he's so articulate. He's such a great speaker. I mean, there's a real cerebral quality to him.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't remember Pris's character well enough, and she doesn't last much in the film. So
she doesn't. Well, I think the main bit of information we get about Pris is that when she is summarized at the beginning of the film, when Deckard is getting his job, she is explained as a basic pleasure model.
Ooh.
Think what you like about Hollywood's opinion of women in 1982.
Yeah.
I would take that as probably a satire rather than to be taken at face value. But yes, Pris was a sex bot. Whereas Roy Batty, good with the words. It's going to be Roy Batty, isn't it?
I think it is.
I think he would make the better lawyer. Which is not to disrespect Pris, who is a character with all her own depths, but we don't get to know her in the film.
And she would probably be a pretty good lawyer as well, but
So it's 3 for 3 for you. I'm doing terribly badly here. Okay, we're going to move on to round 4. Who have you got for round 4?
So in round 4, this is difficult because my bench is right there screaming at me. We don't know what the question is. At least I don't.
I'm playing an honest game here. I don't know what the next question is.
I'm going, this is off the wall. I'm just hoping for a certain kind of question here. Alan Rickman, who has died, sadly.
Right, yeah.
Love Alan Rickman.
I got given his diary for a Christmas present last year. Yeah, the Alan Rickman diaries, and they're hilarious.
Oh, wow. I'm sure it's good,
The big surprise was he drew all these beautiful pictures in the margins.
Oh.
So there's kind of all these reproduced pages from the diary.
And was he writing in it up until his death, or?
More. I've only dipped into it. It's one of those Christmas books that you dip into it.
Yeah.
But, what's hilarious is reading his opinions about politicians when they appear on television or when he meets people. Very witty guy.
In Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he played Marvin, who I thought was just a very unusual and hilarious robot because he's depressed and he is very morose and super funny. And I think it's so endearing that he's going to win in any challenge. So bring it on.
But if he does win, he won't be able to celebrate it, though, will he?
No, not at all. Which is best, because then he can just move on to the next challenge and kick more ass. More roast, more ass. Yeah.
Okay, up against Marvin, the paranoid android. This is actually a reasonable pairing. Okay, so not one robot, but two. I've got a pair of robots who always come in a pair. They've appeared in 2 different films.
Oh, yeah.
They have a cameo in Tron Legacy. I don't know whether you've seen that.
No.
You haven't missed much, which is... I've never a big fan of Tron, and then when Tron Legacy came out, so we did watch it, and I remember being very disappointed, and they're showing it to the children afterwards, kind of thinking, oh, desperate for something to watch. And if you watch the first half of Tron Legacy, we watched it over 2 evenings. If you watch the first half of Tron Legacy is great fun.
Oh.
We got to the end of the first half and it was time for bed, and I was thinking, why did I not like this film? This film is great. It's really enjoyable. And then the following evening we came back and we watched the second half of Tron Legacy, and it undoes all the good business of the first half. It's a terribly disappointing second half. It just makes the rest of the film suck. But Tron Legacy, directed by Joseph Kosinski, whose next feature film after Tron Legacy was Top Gun Maverick, which I believe was the Two Real Cinema Club's Film of the Year 2022.
Yeah.
So he's got what's that thing you say when people are good? Skills.
He's got skills.
So my pair of robots make a cameo in Tron Legacy. They also appear in a film directed by themselves called Electroma from 2006. They are French robots. And they take their name from a review of a band they were in, written in Melody Maker. Do you know who these 2 robots are?
Les robots français.
Oui.
Je ne les connais pas. I have no idea. You've got me
These
very
robots
lost right
are Daft Punk.
Oh, yes.
Thomas Bangalter. This is yet again. This is. We're having weeks of me mispronouncing everybody's name. Thomas Bangalter, I think.
Yeah.
Guy Manuel de Omem Cristo. I think that's their names.
Yeah.
Considering how much I love the music of Daft Punk, I ought really to have learned how to pronounce their names properly. So Daft Punk, I would say maybe the most recognizable robots in the world right now. Sadly split up about 3 or 4 years ago, didn't they? So one of the things on my bucket list was see Daft Punk live, and that's never going to happen.
Don't worry. They always get back good. They need the money.
Wait till they run out of money. Okay, so we have got Daft Punk versus Marvin the Paranoid Android, but what is the challenge Edward has given us? Right, most likely to win an impossible theme park game. Okay, right. Most likely to win an impossible theme park game. So I think he means one of those games where you have to throw 3 rings on top of a duck to win a duck.
Daft Punk all the way. Marvin couldn't do that.
Yeah, you're right. Marvin couldn't do that. But Marvin almost certainly probably could do that, but wouldn't be able to bear the humiliation of making himself win the theme park game.
No contest.
So,
that's a good question because it's a very particular skill. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to put my money on Daft Punk. Well, I'm glad I won 1 round at least.
Yeah.
Right, so we're on to the semi-finals then. This is getting quite exciting. First semi-final, we have the Borg versus HAL 9000.
What's the challenge, I wonder?
What is the challenge? There's not a lot of overlap, I must say, between those two. So it should be fairly easy to figure out who can do one challenge and not the other. Let's find out. Right, challenge number 5. For a place in the final, Borg versus HAL 9000, who is most likely to skip a queue and get away with it?
Jeez, that's a good... God, Edward's done a great job on these questions.
He has done a good job here. Well, I can't see Hal skipping any queues because Hal has no body.
That's right. He'd figure out how to do it, but he couldn't do it. So that has to be Borg.
That has to be the Borg, I think, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think, Hal's only way of affecting things in the real world was to take control of other machinery around the ship.
Yeah.
So he was able to murder one of the astronauts by ramming him with a pod, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Opened the pod bay doors, Hal.
Yeah.
So is it possible that he might be able to skip a queue by ramming one of the pods into all the other people in the queue? I think the Borg would presumably just recruit all the other people in the queue.
Yeah.
And then there wouldn't be any queue anymore. They would immediately be front in the queue because everyone was the Borg.
That's right. And
this appeals to the Borg skill set.
It's an incredible organism where whoever's first in line is also last in line because they're all wired together. So, yeah, they just decimate the queue.
See, I'm starting to think that the Borg are like a really good example of socialism now. I'm starting to like them a bit more.
They are. They need a bit more. They're like, German socialism. We need a little Cuban socialism. They need to learn to dance and win that first challenge.
Right, national socialism. Okay, so in the final, we have got the Borg. The Borg are going to be a difficult team to beat.
Yeah.
Team being the active word. Okay, other semi-final, Roy Batty versus my only representative, Daft Punk.
Good representative.
So challenge number 6, who of those two is most likely to mess up cooking the easy-to-prepare microwave food? So who is the worst chef out of Roy Batty and Daft Punk?
Probably Roy. I mean, Daft Punk, you've got 2 people, and they're artists. True. They're maybe not culinary artists, but they are artists. So I'm going with Daft Punk on that one, I think.
Has Roy Batty ever actually eaten a meal?
No, he doesn't know anything about food.
Do the replicants eat? I don't think they do they?
No.
But then that said, well, okay, big question. We can't sidestep this. Is Harrison Ford in Blade Runner, is he a replicant or not? I need a yes or no answer.
No.
Oh, controversial. Do you think? Yeah. Okay. All right. Tell me more. I said, give me a yes or no answer, and now I'm going to say no. Don't give me a yes or no answer. Elaborate. Why do you think he's not a replicant?
I thought I was off the hook. It's Harrison Ford. He can't be a replicant.
You're right. Difficult to argue with that. Yep. Yes,
yeah,
fair
it's just
enough.
Harrison Ford. I do like that. You know, you wouldn't know necessarily if you were a really well-made replicant. You start to think you're human, but.
I personally think Harrison Ford is a replicant in the film, but we do see him eat noodles.
Yeah.
So maybe Roy Batty does eat food. I don't know. But you're right. Daft Punk. There's 2 of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
So if one of them takes their eye off the timer on the microwave, the other one can help out.
They get back.
Clearly, it's going to be Daft Punk.
It's hard to see through those visors and helmets, but I think they'd get it done.
They would get steamed up, wouldn't they, if they spent too long in the kitchen? But
precisely.
So, okay, well, this is the cinematic robot battle of all time. We have the Borg versus Daft Punk. Please let it be some sort of dancing question. No, we've already had a dance contest, haven't we? We've already had a dance contest.
It's going to be something super logical and forceful. That's Borg.
Something that involves a lot of people moving at the same time. Okay, question number 7 in the final.
Yep.
Borg versus Daft Punk. Oh, most likely to win the Great British Bake Off.
Oh, those 2 are related.
But then no one would use a microwave, would they, in the Great British Bake Off? I think Bake Off is more about finesse. Plus, you need to have personality. You have to charm the judges. And you have to make a croissant.
I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Did Edward give these to us in a certain order, or?
Well, he's written 1 to 7 here.
Okay.
Maybe, what do you think he got to 6 and then sort of slightly ran out of energy? Or I suspect more likely he got to 6 and then he was still quite hungry. So all the remaining questions were about food.
Or maybe you were supposed to start with 7 and work down to 1.
Do you think maybe I was?
Which would make it the dancing thing. I think either way, Daft Punk probably wins. I mean, I think the Borg working as a unit could probably do a great job on the Bake Off, but
see, they could work it. I think that the active word here is British. Would Daft Punk win a British Bake Off?
Ooh,
that's tricky. I can't see the judges giving the prize to a French contestant.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ooh. We're not going to do a draw, are we? That seems kind of...
No, we're not going to do a draw. I don't think the Borg accept draws, do they?
No, they don't do that.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be the Borg.
I guess it's the Borg. I figure they've got all the skills. You're right.
Yeah, never bet against the Borg.
No cultural bias coming into it. Yep, it's going to be Borg.
Picard, he's a bit of a foodie, isn't he?
He is a foodie, and he's not French. He sounds French. Patrick Stewart ain't French.
Yeah.
It's Borg.
That's true. Yeah, it's the Borg, isn't it? It's the Borg. It's the Borg.
Never
bet against the Borg.
Wow.
Well, there you go. I wish I could say I'd learned something talking about this 8 cinematic robots. But the main thing I've learned is don't bet against the Borg. That's what I've learned.
Don't. And you know why not? Because
why not?
They represent, I remembered the word, they represent the singularity. It's the best of human culture and mechanical and technological culture in one body.
That is the thing that we're heading towards in about 8 years, isn't
it?
Correct. I think
that's correct.
Yep.
Just don't tell Fritz Lang.
I for one If it means we win the Great British Bake Off, I can't wait now. Actually, I think that's a reasonable price to pay.
Well, I think it was all very scientific, and these are true things that we just talked about. So I learned a lot.
And the fact that we've finished on 2 cooking ones means I'm just in the mood for popcorn now.
Ooh, let's get some popcorn.
Let's get some popcorn, and then I think let's eat some popcorn and watch some films about coming out. That's one thing that the Borg would never do. I think.
Nice.
They strike me as in the closet types.
They're kind of an asexual culture, I believe.
Yeah.
Borgs. Yeah.
No sense of fun. All right, to the popcorn counter.